Mr. Trump bills himself as a big, good businessman. Yet there's been a lot of stories recently about the bankruptcies he's had in his companies, the fact he won't release his taxes to say how much he's actually contributed to charities. Do you have those raise any concerns in your mind?
Well, I think he's been a successful businessman. I think he's been a very successful real estate developer. There's no question about that. We can debate, how many zeros exactly he has in his net worth, but he has a lot. So he has a huge number even. I think that real estate is an industry that's very different from tech, and so it's not one I would consider myself that expert at evaluating the specifics of what someone has done. I think it's a fairly zero-sum business. It's a very tough industry, especially in our big urban cities like Manhattan or San Francisco, and I suspect that in many ways, what Trump did was par for the course in that context. We have an enormous amount of transparency on our political leaders. I think that's a good thing. On the whole, there's always a question whether there's a point where it gets pushed too far. I would worry that we ask so much. We examine people under an electron microscope if you're running for dog catcher in this country, and at some point, and I do think that this is the single biggest reason that more talented people do not run for political office and do not get involved. There's the transparency in some ways often gets taken in this very toxic direction. So I don't know whether or not Trump should release his tax returns, but I think at this point the American people know far more than enough to make up their minds about the two candidates.
You do believe, though, that the vetting process for American political candidates should be strong and thorough, right?
Oh, it should be very strong, and it is very strong. But I also believe that there are a large number of that we have in some ways have a less talented group of people running today versus 40 or 50 years ago. I think the vetting process was very tough, when Kennedy was running for president in 1960. But it's not clear somebody like Kennedy would be electable in today's world.